I'm actually not a singer. I like to sing, but I'm not a singer. You know what I mean? That I like to sing. That's all. You know, there are many artists and greater, more talented people. I listen and just say, wow.
Thank you so much. It's Happy World Music Day, Mr. Lakiani. And thank you for giving us that wonderful music. And you continue to entertain us with your songs. Thank you.
Ma'am, thank you so much. You can express whatever you need to express, even outside of Bollywood. You know what I mean? Today's situation. So I prefer that, than getting into the whole machinery of producing something that could be away from what I even think about. With every hardship, there will be ease. It's in equal amounts. So if you didn't do a challenge, you wouldn't enjoy the easy part of it. And yet you need to be on your toes, at the same time. It's just not being easy all the time.
Hello, everyone. My name is Rudrani, and welcome to Speak Easy. This is a World Music Day edition, and I couldn't have asked for a better guest. He's someone we all have admired because of the kind of music he's made, the kind of songs he's given us, and of course, the kind of belief system that he has. A true artist, as we all call him and we know him, Mr. Lakiali. Thank you so much for joining us. This is very special. I don't think I could really ask for anybody else for a better guest, World Music Day.
Yeah, it's World Music Day. I said Royal Music Day. Yeah, they've got a day for everything. You know what I mean? So it's all right.
It's World Music Day every day for you.
Yes. Yes, everybody's singing something or the other, and yeah, connecting, and that's very beautiful.
You've been among the very few artists who has truly kept his music sacrosanct and stood by what he believed in from right beginning. And I don't think it must have been easy because the world changes. There's the business that gets involved in the music industry as well. Yet you've managed to keep yourself away from all of it and just create music. How have you been able to do that? For a lot of artists who are often told that you will have to probably give in to the system that's been created, to the power structures within, what would you like to tell them? I think it's great to have this discussion on World Music Day.
Yeah, always remember that with every hardship, there will be ease. It's in equal amounts. So if you didn't do a challenge, you wouldn't enjoy the easy part of it. And yet you need to be on your toes, at the same time. It's just not being easy all the time. This is like what we call is similar to something called a pulsirat. A pulsirat means it's like almost purgative, like, purgatory, that this world is like that. So, yeah, and within that frame of things, and because of whatever, that's the vibe everywhere. And sensitive to those vibes, and that's where you seek your work from and try to express it. And it's just a process, but it's not a given. You know what I mean? These happen because it's the time. Well, fortunately for me, I live on a farm in outside Bangalore, and there was always home to come back to. You understand? May Almighty bless my late father, but he saw to it that all his children were taken care of, and so that tomorrow, if there was so what we've basically been doing is just trying to make sense out of this landscape we have out here, and that's like growing trees or agricultural stuff sometimes. And so that has always been I would say that has been more like as equal to my work in the music, because music takes a long time for me to be expressed. Although you might compose a song in just like that, tune just like that, but then whatever goes into it, the education behind it, where the producers and all the musicians come in, they take it to that. So it's a process. It's not something that I feel very industrial about. You know what I mean? It's difficult. I mean, everything is difficult, but everything also has, as something of ease.
This we were discussing, this pandemic has been hard on a lot of people. People are still suffering, and hopefully you will come out of it soon. But I think one good thing that happened during this time is that, people started giving you the same kind of love that you've always been getting. One video of yours came up, and everybody still again went back to the time that why we thought Lucky is so amazing.
I mean, when people care about you, of course, you're very grateful, and I care a lot.
How did you react to the influx of love that you got on social media again because they saw your one version of the very very loved Puthanam song? How did you in the beginning? Were you overwhelmed?
I was, yeah, I was because I didn't expect something like this. Because what had happened was, it was an interview that was going on, and my technician, he was filming it on his video, on his thing, and then just as part of his daily blog or vlog or whatever he does, he mentioned it that we went for a shoot at Lucky Bai's place, and that like kind of like caught on because I think everybody was a bit overwhelmed themselves at that time with the pandemic and so many things, and and it felt good to what do you call kya bolte hain, connect with them. But it's amazing because you're so isolated, and then all of a sudden it's like, and I didn't even know there was a second time we went. Sapa called me to see a performance of the local musicians there, and that was an eye opener for me. So, and then they honored me, and then I mean, I felt that they're singing my song, I might as well just sing with them. So they were doing their own music, just say hello to me. They sang a couple of my songs, and then yeah, I just obliged that I must like communicate. So
You actually managed to see both sides of the internet in the same year. You had to actually go out and clarify a hoax sort of message that went about the fact that, oh, he's not been well and he's passed away. You had to actually clarify that you're okay.
I know someone probably said something else, but they were just remembering that, oh man, a piece of music. You know what I mean? So over here, it becomes very this thing because that's the nature of man that we react before. Yeah, but it's good. I mean, I'm so glad that I got to see overwhelming this thing. So I know I won't miss anything when I really go away. You know what I mean? It's there, it's happening.
Today we live in a world, and I was talking about the internet precisely why is because it's also given chances to so many artists. And in the time you started, it was difficult, right? Because you had labels and there were people in between. But today is, a lot of young artists who come in have the opportunity to just put in things directly to the people and let their music thrive that way. There is more chance of creating independent artists today than it was around that time with the kind of structures that were there.
It's changed, become more micro from what it was. Now you can just take your music and record it right now, and it could, just go across to the rest of the world. It's that we've reached that situation now. Having said that, I was fortunate to like get into a situation where, a company like a farmhouse music company, I was able to like, just put my music there and say, just do what you need to be doing because everything needs to be resolved in that. Right from the first layer of just singing in your track, then there's a second layer of all the musicians, the talent, the education that you put in. You understand, and there's a further thing of technology which is involved to put all of that together. So you need people or brains or minds that understand this. This is just like second nature. That generation of going to a music company, "Ji Mera Gana Le," that's like history now, and history is happening really fast. Things change very fast, and this is an opportunity for all musicians actually to get, you always work better as a team to put your ideas across, and it's never about doing it yourself. You do it with um, uh, similarly talented individuals in whatever fields to bring your expression across. So actually, this is a good time for people to express themselves.
Even when your association with brands, I think you do very few of that, because I feel like you only do it when your ideals match with that particular brand or organization that you are going to collaborate with. And I noticed that with Sounds of Society too, because the idea
Yeah, yeah.
is to bring up artists who are real artists, who have their own voice, and they are not being asked to do what everybody else is doing.
Yeah, surprised. I was in Goa with my family, and one day we just got a from these people who wanted to do an expression, to do some music on a platform that could be done with local musicians and stuff like that. I was very keen because earlier I had that experience of working with a band called Naran, in in Goa, and I really liked those musicians because they were many people. You understand what I mean? Many different what do you call musical instruments, and learning. So when they said that, I felt that I'd like to involve musicians I work with here in Bangalore and musicians that I would be able to experiment with, and that's what we try to achieve in Sounds of Society project. So it's a good platform for musicians who will come together and enhance an artist's ability to express his song. Um, so I look at it that way. It was okay. I sat there and I take responsibility for it. Actually, it is that.
Sometimes you lose objectivity when there's a fandom that started trying to hype you up and calling everything that you do amazing work. Has that ever happened to you? Have
Well,
you? Is it easy
when
for
this
you to
whole
tell
thing,
like which song of yours you really like and which of song of yours like you look at it objectively?
well, I'll tell you very frankly. I do a lot of communication on my social pages with my friends who come on pages. Um, and basically, it's what I see is what I show. I saw this, if it was space or if it was this, or even verses from Quran or from the Gita or whatever things that that I mean, that I can make sense of. I like to share. Okay. And one of the things I like to do also is also share music. When something like that happens, that you won't look at, I mean, and it happens, then you're humble about it. You understand. It's not about having the numbers because the numbers come in the numbers. You understand. And also, you come and you go. It's what you do that remains after you. And that's what I thought I had gone away a long time ago. But for me, that's the journey. All that's the what do you call? Yeah, that's the travel aspect for me to understand from album to album because it takes me across various geographies, various mindsets, various vistas. It just takes me across and things that probably they educate yourself on. It's like a university. Everything is like a university of learning. Where you come from, where you learn from that and you build from that. You know, but it's about a progress. It's about using your faculty, to not just being part of the herd, also growing the herd within yourself in a positive way that everybody can be sustained, everything can be sustained. It's about finding the balance.
What are a few things that you really hope changes in the Indian music industry for the better to make it more inclusive and to make it more united? What are a few things you hope changes?
Changes have already taken place. I mean, as we were speaking, individual uh, smaller but larger perspectives have, become, and that's the future of this music business. People are going to be, uh, remember one thing, that a melody will always, speak out to you. Whereas something that is mechanical or industrial has its life, you know, after a while it gets, but that's where the learning of art, traditions of music, come into play. For as long
There's
as
also
Yeah, for as long as people are learning, or even feeling it, it'll be there. You understand the vibration, the rhythm will be there to stay within the rhythm, and don't worry out of rhythm, you'll fall into rhythm.
is that also your advice to young artists? If I tell you, is there if you have to give a message to young artists in this day, what would you tell them?
I would just say find the rhythm. Once you find the rhythm, kind of like sorted it out.
How do you look at the culture of remixes and the culture of trying to make a song that was very popular right now, introduce them in a new fashion to this way? How do you look at that?
Just through rhythm, like what is the rhythm that it expresses, you know, that is in line with your own, or whether whether it's hurting that sensibility. So it's about
Are there artists that you admire?
all of them. Anybody who's brave enough to stand in front of a mic or go in front of a crowd is to me, and big respects to those people, because it takes it takes all the mind you've got and all the time you've got, and to just do that, and to be giving your love and getting the love from people. It's an artist story. So love your artists.
Tell me, every time you write a new song, what is your kind of process? They always talk about how artists sometimes, like, you live in a beautiful place, secluded, so I'm sure that helps. The calmness helps around you.
Well, it's not
But
about being in
what is
place.
your process?
It's I mean, it's not about being in a particular place. Being in a particular place here, and here, and there has to be kind of like a balance between your head and your heart. And you could be in a situation which could be like hell for someone else, but that could be your heaven. You understand what I'm saying? So it's about having something. It's about having that faculty to balance everything, and everybody's been given that faculty. You know, there are lots of rich people who are so insecure in their lives, because they don't know what to do with all the wealth that you understand. These are paradoxes. So uh, the happiest man is a person who actually has nothing. If you can somehow get rid of you could live a very nice life without really having anything. So it's just see yourself. You see a lot of these travelers who go out into the mountains, exploring, discovering, seeing beauty in things that we probably give a second thought to in an urban kind of an environment. You understand? But then when you get out, you need to be out, broaden your perspective, and to be happy about that.
I saw even on stage, you kind of have this moment where you get really lost while performing. What has been one of your craziest stage experiences, or a memory from your performances that you remember with the crowd that you fondly remember today?
So we'd gone to a university somewhere in Assam, in Silchar, and I was very, very tired that day, I remember, because we had traveled, you travel through the mountains and reach this beautiful northeastern kind of a space. And it was magical because it rained. We reached there, just poured. It's one of the wettest places on earth, Cherapur, and that area, you understand better. And the kids had made elaborate arrangements of sound and everything, beautiful stage. And we went on stage, and there was a cloudburst, and everything just got washed out. So I went back to my room, and it was, um, uh, yeah, it was past bedtime. Like I thought, like, past 10:30 is past bedtime. Just getting ready for bed, and then I get a knock on, and it's the boy is saying, "So there's no electricity, but we want you to come in. You know, like we're all waiting for you." And that moment, it felt right to just go. You know, we went there. There was no sound, no nothing, no nothing. It was just a mist. It was around 1 o'clock in the morning. And everybody was, whole college was there, and we all sang. So when we sang, amazingly in that space, we could hear each other. You know what I mean? And that kind of became like, and then they were putting on their cell phones, and yeah. So that was a very memorable one.
Luckily, do something in Bollywood is to truly believe in something. Is that how it is, or how do you look at that? Because you have been very selective about your collaborations with anybody.
Well, you can express whatever you need to express, even outside of Bollywood. You know what I mean? Today's situation. So I prefer that, than getting into the whole machinery of producing something that could be away from what I even think about. So sometimes when you trust the individual, like I've had experience with some amazing composers, some known, some not known, but amazing because it was just about vibration. You understand what I mean? I generally vibe with anyone who's vibing itself. Understand? So if you're convinced about express or get the artist to express, you got to be convinced about it first. So in their cases, it's always been like, okay, you work with the song, take your time, because I'm not a singer. You understand? I'm actually not a singer. I like to sing, but I'm not a singer. You know what I mean? That I like to sing. That's all. You know, there are many artists and greater, more talented people. I listen and just say, wow, like that's amazing. Oh, usually it's been yeah, people that I'd never heard of before also, and then they just come on and they express themselves. And that's what I post. So if I hear someone and I just post about them.
Thank you so much. It's Happy World Music Day, Mr. Lakiari. And thank you for giving us that wonderful music, and you continue to entertain us with your songs. And thank you for doing that.
Ma'am, thank you so much.
Thank you so much.